Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to share a personal project that I made using Unreal Engine, Blender, Nuke, and DaVinci Resolve. So the point of this project was to learn how to use Unreal Engine. Okay, this was my first time ever in Unreal Engine. I'd never used it before. I'm starting basically from scratch. All right, so let's open up Unreal Engine. My vision for this project was to create a dystopian, post-apocalyptic sci-fi scene. I wanted it to be a little bit Star Wars, a little bit Dune, that kind of stuff. That was the vision. How did it turn out? Let's see. All right, so that was that. First impressions, it wasn't bad. Definitely some room for improvement, a lot of room for improvement. But for my first project in Unreal, I'm pretty happy with it. It didn't turn out to be, a total piece of shit like I thought it would, but always room for improvement. So, how would I improve upon that whole sequence if I were to do it again? Okay, so I'm just gonna show you here in Nuke some things that I'd improve upon if I had to do this over again. All right, so the first thing that comes out to me while watching this first clip here is the camera shake is way too janky. If I were to do this again, I'd reduce the camera shake and make it a lot more subtle. There's some frames in here where the camera shake is just way too distracting and jumps around too much. The second thing I noticed while making this is the smoke plumes here in the background. They could use some work in terms of being blended in with the atmospherics and the haze of the scene. My immediate concern here is that the smoke, especially here on the right of the screen, the highlights, they're too much, too distracting. I'd also reduce maybe the opacity of the smoke plumes. If you look at the scene and the way I designed it, there's a ton of atmospheric haze and dust and smog in this scene, which not only lifts the blacks in the smoke plume, but would also have the effect of making the entire smoke cloud less visible and blend it in a lot more with the yellowish color of the sky and haze. So yeah, especially that smoke plume at the back there, that could use some work. The third thing I take a look at is basically the landscape, the design of it. I'd spend a lot more time building it up and refining it. Like here in the scene, does it really need the barbed wire? Does that add anything to the story? I added it to add something different to the scene, so it wasn't just all plain desert terrain. But in hindsight, I'd go through my Megascans assets and probably add some different assets to the scene and build it out a bit more. In terms of storytelling, the plain desert terrain doesn't really tell enough of a story for me. Like, what kind of desert is this? It doesn't relate to the characters in the scene either. So going back, I that could use a lot of work. Another thing that sticks out to me here is the flashing lights on the ships. Like, they just pop on and off too quickly. I don't know. It's just, I would slow that down a bit. Talking about the ships here, another thing I'd also like the lighting here at the front of the ships. It's too muddy. The shadows cover almost all the detail. In fact, there's no detail visible at the front of these ships here. So going back, I'd adjust the lighting. It's way too flat and muddy at the front of these ships. All right, so if we go to the second scene here, so the highlights I noticed on the desert terrain are they're pinged way too bright for my liking. It's too bright, it's too contrasty. So if I went back, I definitely reduce the highlight pinging on the desert train. Again, if we look at the smoke plume, kind of right here, the right-hand corner of the screen, if I zoom in here, the smoke it doesn't blend well behind the desert mountain in the background. The contact lines are too contrasty and too sharp. You need a bit of a gradient to smooth the transition. Because remember, the smoke is like way off in the distance. But the way it's layered here, it seems like it's almost attached to it. It looks a bit unnatural and draws the eye in a way that I hadn't intended. So I'd go back and add some more atmospheric haze to the smoke plumes and maybe darken some of the bright edges on the landscape where they come into contact with the smoke. Again, the camera shake, like if you look at the end here, it's way too much. It almost seems like the character is floating or bobbing around weirdly in the air. The ships, they're moving too quickly in this scene. They're supposed to be hovering slowly or drifting slowly over the landscape, but instead just seems like they're moving faster than I'd wanted. Lastly, I guess the only thing I would add that I had intended to was some heat distortion to this scene. I'd wanted to add some heat distortion to the desert train in the midground, but I also wanted to add some heat distortion to the ships here, where the engine and the thrusters are. That's something I didn't get around to doing, but I think it definitely would have added something beneficial to these scenes. And that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you. If you like the video and the channel, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. I will be back. I'm going to Hong Kong this month, at the end of the month, and hopefully I will be back with some stuff to show you. That would be awesome. So excited. All right. I will see you later. Thanks for tuning in.